on. We're live.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the weekly best thing in your entire lives. This is Difficult, the podcast. We bring you the most juicy deets about video gaming and such material thereof within. Yeah, anyway, totally scripted. Memorize that script. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome. I am your co-host, Lord Yeshua. Josh is my human name. We have Paul Ryugami-san. He is we're on his channel right now, and you can see his other streams here. Fun little fact. We got Zach in the corner here. The letdown. Let us down, baby. And here we are to talk about video games. We have a really good one. We're going to be touching on our favorite thing ever today quite a bit. We're going to touch it all over. Paul, why don't you lead us into this week's goods? Get us started.
Chat right now. Hey, what's up, guys? How's it been? It's been a couple of weeks since our last
Who's that person?
Our last little shindig here. So what have you guys been up to? What's been going on in your life? Playing any games?
Yeah. Playing
games though. I've actually been playing a lot more games lately than there was like that week where I played like 20 different games, and now ever since I'm just like consistently gaming again.
Yeah.
Not consistently streaming again, but we're getting there. But here, I'll go first since mine was. Well, who has the review? We'll do Paul last then. I'll go first. Mine was easy. Josh. So I've been playing a lot of, don't laugh, Yoshi's Crafted World, which I'm going to be reviewing. Honestly, this game is a sleeper. This is a sleeper game. I know I sound like a fucking Mario fanboy when I say that this is a good game.
I'm going to try and stream it with my wife.
Yes. So, okay. As a speedrunner and always wanting to push games to their maximum, the least I can say right now without getting too much into it is that this game, you can just run through it, and the level, like, trust, I always call it level trust, when it's, like, perfectly set up to go as fast as possible through the level. Like, boing, boing, bouncing off guys.
Like Sonic games should be.
Like Sonic and, like, all Mario and Donkey Kong games are, like, 100. You could blindly jump, and you'll land on a Shy Guy perfectly and, like, be able to keep running. And, like, it's awesome. Like, Nintendo clearly made this game. It's not another knockoff. This is like another mainline Yoshi game, in my opinion. I did not play the one for the Wii U at all, but it looked way too gimmicky.
There was one for the Wii U? I completely forgot that it existed.
This one is literally, like, to me, like,
that was the Woolly one, right?
Yeah.
Woolly World. Yeah. Okay.
That's when they did Kirby yarn bullshit also, and that was like a whole genre of shit. I was like, eh. This one, though, Yoshi's Story was basically like paper and all that shit anyway. So I was like, it's kind of like an HD version of that. And it actually feels a lot like that. It feels like all of them mixed together. Love this game. Played Mega Man X and beat it on stream. That was a momentous gaming event. That was badass. You guys saw it.
Really looking forward to your review of that. That'll be next week.
We're all going to be
I'm so excited.
Review. I will say I am glad to have beaten a Mega Man game. I'm definitely entering that into my repertoire of games that I can now comfortably play. Yeah, I can just play 100 games now. Would just be like, which I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, there's so many Mega Man games I haven't tapped into yet.
Yes,
it's kind of awesome that I actually enjoyed it. I will at least give you that much. I fucking loved the game, so I'll say that at least. But I'm not giving you a full review. I obviously have negative things to say as well. But that was pretty much all I did. I haven't played Mario Golf in forever. I'm probably like 12,000 from the world now.
Damn, you're no longer a Mario Golf pro.
I no longer a Mario Golf. Who knew that this would happen? Shit. Aside from that, I did a bunch of like voice acting this week actually, and I've been working on like a lot of that side shit and just working my butthole off. And now I'm off for 4 days.
Congrats,
it's gonna be awesome. So you'll see a stream.
Hell yeah.
Maybe?
So I mean, having 2 weeks off, my big push was when Josh was playing Mega Man X, I promised both of these guys that I was going to beat Mega Man 11, even if I had to drop it down all the way to Wimpy Kitty Baby mode, which I did. but I've now gone back on normal mode, and knowing the mechanics of the game, knowing the level design, it's so much more approachable.
Maybe that's part of it.
It is like totally part
for that.
Totally part of it. And I'll get more into that in my review. I will talk about it in depth, but like
that'll be the week after next.
Yes.
So we'll have 2 back-to-back Mega Man reviews.
Nice. Maybe by then I'll have beaten another Mega Man game.
Hey.
Hey.
0-1. Go for it.
0-1, I think.
So I played that. I played, let's see. Usually I have these written down and I forgot to do it today. Did more Gears Tactics. That game continues to be excellent. Very, very impressive game. For kind of a surprise, honestly. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I just did like a lot of those two. I did Arkham Knight a little bit as well. Just trying to get through some of the side quests and stuff. But yeah, those pretty much just a lot of those three. Oh, it's I didn't play Space Marine this week either. So yeah, just those three. Paul?
I played a lot.
On to the main line.
Over the last couple weeks. Played a lot. So, well, I don't think I really necessarily played anything that was shitty, which is nice.
We don't really usually.
Yeah. So I started out. Well, let's just start with Samurai Warriors 5, the new one. It's great. Like, so I mean, it doesn't stray from the kind of like Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors formula that much. But it's a very, very clear improvement on that formula, right? You can see that, after 500 fucking games, I don't know how many there are, but there's a ton of Warriors series games.
There are at least 50.
There's a ton. Yeah. Especially if you include all the other, like the Hyrule Warriors and the, this and that.
Yeah. Which there's 3 of.
All these Muso games.
There's 4 Hyrule Warriors alone.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
There's the original, the remake, the new one, the DS. Damn.
There you go. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
That's just
anyway, the point is, it's a really, really good game. The art style's really good. I really love the narrative of this one. They're doing a really good job of like following the historical events that are going, and the focus is on Oda Nobunaga, which is really cool.
That's dope, actually. I just learned about all that and that Netflix thing.
Oh.
Yeah. I've got qualms with that Netflix thing, but at least it's like I don't remember what it was called, but it's a good like Kickstarter to get people interested in.
Which was me, because all I know is Rurouni Kenshin history.
Sure. But there's definitely some serious flaws with that show.
I bet.
But anyway. I also played another Muso game, another Warriors game. I played the Berserk Band of the Hawk.
That's crazy.
Which is awesome. So it's definitely a Muso game, but it focuses more on kind of like, the actual like Berserk story. And it customizes it like as far as like the controls and abilities and stuff to fit the Berserk, comic or manga, whatever, a little bit better. And then another thing that it does that's really cool is like the cutscenes are straight from like the most recent like anime movies from the series, which is really awesome. So those are all, that game's also really fantastic for a Muso game, and really enjoying that. Then I also played a little bit of Demon Souls.
Dude, how good is that?
This game is fucking amazing, but it will knock your dick in the dirt, dude. This game is so freaking hard.
But I don't want to buy a PS5. Fuck.
I don't either.
I really want that game, but I'm waiting for
my dick in the dirt.
Elden Ring. I can wait for Elden Ring.
Yeah, you can wait for Elden.
Paul, I do have a count on the approximate count on the Warriors series.
Oh yes, curious.
According to Wikipedia, so obviously not the most reliable source in the world. It's not a source. Approximately 55.
55. I knew at least 50.
God damn.
Yeah. So according to this, there are 20
Warriors.
mainline Dynasty Warriors games, including like Gundam Dynasty Warriors and all that stuff.
Oh, those are dope.
5 One Piece Pirate Warriors, 10 Samurai Warriors, also 5 Warriors of Rochi, and then 15 things like Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, so like the Dragon Warrior one and the Hyrule Warriors and the Band of the Hawk,
Fire Emblem,
Berserk.
That's wild.
Oh, there's a Fire Emblem one?
Might have the most.
5.
That might have the most. I would say only competing with maybe Pokemon in the most games in its thing. How many games? Okay, now we're just getting into something.
There's more than. Well, okay, I guess if you're talking about Pokemon spin-off games.
I'm going to add that, Josh. I'm going to add that to the topics list because I think that's a really good like.
I think that's a cool topic.
When does a franchise become too much?
Too much. Like, when do you say, is this a Pokemon game? Like, if it's like a fucking puzzle or whatever.
Yeah.
But I bet there's over 250 Pokemon cartridge or disc-based games.
Sure.
Yeah, not card.
Let's see. Then I also played a lot of various Game Boy games this week because I just was really feeling Game Boy games, like Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. It might have something to do with like all the rumors of Game Boy coming to the Switch. I don't know.
If that
But
happens,
I've just been like really, really into Game Boy games in general. So, and I've been playing a lot of different ones. So it's hard for me to just like pin down. But one of the ones that I've been playing is this, which is Mega Man Extreme. Which is it's basically Mega Man X1 and 2 smashed into one game for the Game Boy Color.
Cool.
And it's a surprisingly competent version of it. It's very playable, it's very fun.
It's basically the Super Nintendo controller, the Game Boy, so no
kind of. You only have 2 buttons.
It's
so select you can probably switch weapons with.
Nah, you wish.
No. Weapons.
If only it was, you just go to your start screen.
You start.
No.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah.
So that's how it works with classic Mega Man.
that's how all the Mega Man games were before the X series.
Let's recall for just a moment.
Yeah.
I missed grabbed. Okay, hold on.
Before the X series, literally every single one of the Mega Man games, that's how you switch weapons.
Let's recall for a moment how many buttons the originals had.
How does Metroid do it? They can shoot up. You can swatch weapons on the fly.
You cannot shoot up in the first Metroid game.
You can. I think.
Yes, you can.
Oh, you can shoot up, but you can't shoot on a diagonal.
I'm not sure. I think you might be able to.
No, you cannot.
Oh wait, you can't. You have an NES controller.
You can shoot up, and you can shoot up, and you can shoot down, but not on a diagonal.
I think the Super was the first diagonal controls for Nintendo.
Yeah. Correct.
I think.
Yep. Based on the chip that's inside. I could go off on that, but now is not the time or place.
No, because we're about to get into maybe the best game he played this week. Are we there yet, or no?
Are we there yet?
We can be. I mean, I did play more games. I played a lot of games this week, honestly. But yeah, so I finally finished this week The Legend of Zelda and the Skyward Sword.
There she is.
And that was magnificent. So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that review.
I love that you saw the ending for the first time. Just like
Yeah, you know what? I almost got spoiled because I was watching like a Zelda. Well, it wasn't anyone's fault but my own, really, because I was watching like a Zelda theory video.
Yeah, and that's the one that we were talking about.
Yeah, and like I noticed, holy shit, they're definitely about to get into some spoilers, so I stopped myself because I knew I was getting.
Speaking of which, we're about to spoil the shit out of the game. So
this game will be very spoiled during this. But this game also isn't a new game, so
go fuck yourselves.
Not go fuck yourselves, but also, if you don't know the story of this, then
oops.
Sorry, like
Bruce Willis is dead all along.
Yeah, exactly. He is dead, people. Yeah, but I mean, if you have like the Hyrule Historium and like things like that, like I kind of already knew a little bit of like what the story was, but like just not how it all played out.
It pretty much just puts a cap on the series, but you can pretty much draw straws from based on like future scenarios.
Well, it also, I mean, it kind of told us a lot. Like, it filled in a lot of gaps, let's put it that way.
Oh, yeah. All the gaps.
Yeah, definitely. Just filled them.
And then Breath makes more gaps, goodness. And we're just like, fuck you. But yeah, bring it. I'm ready for this.
Yeah, without further ado, let's jump into money, that.
Bro. That's amazing.
Review. I'm a poet and I didn't even know I was one. Oh, I got to play on this shit.
Oh, nice. Money. That's amazing.
There we go. All right, so here we go. Here's my review on The Legend of Zelda: The Skyward Sword. Let's begin from where we always do. The name of the game, just said it. Who made it? This is a first-party Nintendo game. I don't know the release date because our producer,
2011, actually.
2011.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's like November 18th.
That sounds about right. You know what though? Because I remember my friends playing it, like right around Christmas time, and
it's definitely a 10-year relaunch. So I know it's 2011.
Josh, what did you say? What did you just say?
November 18th, 2011.
Did he nail it?
No, he did not.
Was it 28?
He nailed it. No. He nailed the European Union release.
Really?
How bizarre.
Yeah, he missed the North America release by 2 days.
Is it the 20th?
Yes, it is.
I
Turns
think
out Josh
also the
is a European
GameCube,
sleeper agent.
the GameCube was also released on November 18th, so I think my mind probably crossed those wires.
Okay.
That was really impressive. Like that's
Hilarious.
incredibly close.
That was weirdly close.
So this game originally released on the Wii. It was actually the final 3D Zelda game that we ever got.
That shit was 10 years ago. When did Breath come out? 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, until Breath of the Wild, which if you ask anyone on this podcast, we don't even consider that a Zelda game. So it's the final 3D Zelda game.
Pretty much.
This was
ironically
recently
the first. Though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, yeah. Ironically, the first. We'll get into that in the spoiler stuff. But so recently re-released on the Nintendo Switch with updated resolution, updated controls, so on and so forth. And it's a lot of fun. So I actually had started this game on, because I do own the Wii version. I had started playing it on the Wii U, and I had planned on finishing it before this came out, but I just got busy. And so I just dropped that. I had gotten to like the third dungeon, I think. And then picked it back up with this one. Just started from scratch. So let's get into just our typical formula here. What did I like about the game? Well, obviously it's a Zelda game, and it hits every note that you want from a Zelda game.
I agree.
It's got the puzzles. It has the story. It has really fun and relatable characters. The music, the art design, the levels, the boss
Let's
design.
Say this was the first Zelda with orchestrated music. The entire soundtrack was completely orchestrated.
Dude, the music is a 10.
First.
And honestly, the art,
Music
if
is
you ask
beyond
me,
a
is
10.
a 10 as well. So starting base score for this game for me is a 10 based on like the art design and the music alone. The art design I think is perfect. This is for me like the sweet spot for Zelda.
In between Wind Waker and Breath.
Yeah. Well, so my comparison would be Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, right? Because
I was going for a little more realism, but
right. That's what I'm saying. So here's the thing. Like this isn't it. Like it's got a little bit of realism, but not so much realism and like grungy darkness that it ruins it. It still maintains like it's kind of like artistic integrity, and it's not so cartoony like Wind Waker is, that it's not appealing to like people
Everything
like myself.
In the game was realistically believable within the world that it built. It wasn't like overly cartoony or overly realistic and not believable in either of those ways. I completely agree. Yeah.
So the artwork was actually based on the work of the Impressionist painters.
Oh, I can see that. It's like an oil painting.
Which was the next thing I was going to mention. Is it has kind of like to me it looks more like watercolor, especially in the backgrounds and stuff like that. I really love that. I think it's fucking gorgeous.
The whole game with that as the main, it's like crazy, and no one even like bats an eye. It's like Nintendo just does this shit, and it holds so well because of it. This will look good in 50 years. It still looks good.
And like I said, I have recently played the Wii version, and even though it isn't, as good, it resolution wise, it still looks great, especially for the time. So I 100% agree. I think this game really holds up artistically, and music. Yes, the same thing. Like Josh said, this is the first Zelda game, really the only Zelda game that is orchestrated. Well, I guess the remake of
well, no, it's not fully orchestrated.
Breath is trash music. There's not really fucking music in that game.
Actually, either there's synth and a lot of other stuff in it.
Right.
Yeah,
but
so the remake
Skyward and Mario Odyssey were specifically fully orchestrated soundtracks because of what they're trying to accomplish.
Remake of Link's Awakening fully orchestrated.
I'm not sure. I need a fact check.
Oh, is it?
That
Okay.
one.
Still really
I would
good.
like to know, but anyway. I know since Skyward Sword, they have freely been using like actual instruments at a lot of parts though. Like, almost every Nintendo mainline game has real instruments in their soundtracks, if not necessarily all fully orchestrated. I know the Galaxies were. I don't know about Odyssey.
Sure.
I could maybe, but it's kind of awesome that they started doing that. And a lot of games still use like bullshit electronic tracks. And I'm like, it's nice that Nintendo's good.
Let's see. I skipped what I didn't like about this game. Literally, the only thing I didn't like about this game was the controls, which has always been the complaint about this game. Though I don't think that the controls are so bad that it makes the game unplayable or even really that unpleasant.
Here's the thing. Is it even fair to judge it on that? Because it's like, if say the controls were perfect, would it even like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't interfere at all. The fact
if this played like a regular Zelda game,
I don't think there would be.
I think this would be everyone's favorite Zelda game.
I think that's a huge thing. Yeah. It just like, you can't just like press A and swing like and do these like Wind Waker, awesome sword play, and you don't have to do these weird motion controls.
Now the controller controls that they added to this game with this remake,
it's okay.
They're okay. They're not bad. And they do compensate for some of the kind of shitty things that the motion controls.
It's just snowy.
But the problem is this. The problem is that even with the updated controls that they added, it still feels like it was designed to be motion controls.
Yeah.
So that's where it kind of takes away.
It's like playing Donkey Konga with the GameCube controller.
Yeah,
like, wait,
dude, that's exactly what it's like. Actually,
like
yeah,
exactly
that's
like
such
that,
a great analogy. Yeah,
really close. Yeah.
Or Jungle Beat.
Sure. Yeah, perfect. So like I do think it's playable, and I think it's a very good way to play it, especially if you can only play it handheld. In fact, didn't you, Zach, play it that way?
I did. Yeah, I played it. I played it handheld. I continued to try to have a Switch game going at any given time so I can hang out in the other room and not be fixed to my computer during my free gaming time. So, yeah. But with wife sleeping in bed, can't really flail the Wiimotes or the Joy-Cons around.
The Joy-Cons. What did you think, before we move on, how did you like that style of control? Because I only like tested it out for like 5 minutes and switched back to.
I didn't use it as much either.
Yeah, so
I
don't really.
Once bothered me.
Okay,
it
great.
Never once bothered me.
So that I might have to go through and
really
check
it's
it out.
only affecting the game when you're swinging the sword, and so like 99% of the game is not combat. It's like a little less, but so it really only affects it sometimes. Like Girahim must have been intense to learn. That's like galvanized into
so
the
I heard
controls.
Girahim was way easier with the stick controls.
Oh yeah, that's
because
right.
he can't tell where you're holding your controller.
He can, but it's easier to flick this
than it is to move your hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
It's easy to use your thumb than your hand.
It's the difference between holding. I'm going to sort of do it with my thumb in front of my face here, going like this and then like that. That's how you get Girahim, and then or doing like this and then doing a full circle to hit him.
Yeah, you'd have to like get his
more
away from the sword and then be like shing shing and like
dude. The first time I did that fight, I was
so awesome, honestly, but
fucking enraged. The first time
it's really cool.
Yeah,
well, I fucking dude, I broke one of my my Wiimotes.
Oh my god!
Not the Wiimote itself, but the nunchuck. I had to buy a new nunchuck.
You threw it?
Yeah, because I fucking broke it during that fight. Like I was
snacking on this counter. Oh no!
No, I pulled it out of the thing and it didn't like. Because I was spazzing.
I was like, I when I beat Girahim the first time, I posted to our Discord. I was like, oh, first boss was a piece of piss, and Colin goes, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I beat him first try, and Colin goes, no, you did not.
Yeah,
like, I did. I definitely kicked his ass, and Colin was like, I'm actually really impressed. And then he found out that I was using the
and he's like, fuck you.
Handheld, and he's like, oh, you cheated then.
Even this time, my like 4th time playing him, that first fight, I still only had 1 heart left. I beat him on my first try, but I had 1 heart after using a fairy and collecting every heart in the room. He's so fucking hard to me still.
I don't think he touched me once.
Wow.
So getting back to the review, that actually like brings us to a good spot here. Was the game difficult? So
What do you think?
I mean, I think that there was parts of the game that were pretty difficult.
I think this is one of the hardest Zelda games.
I disagree.
Well, aside from the fucking, come on. Okay, 3D. I think it's one of the hardest 3D Zelda games.
Yeah,
minus
I would
the
even
bosses, minus the
dude.
bosses.
I would even say that, dude. I think this game, like,
Okay,
I think Ocarina of Time is harder than this easily.
It's like butter under. That's like melted butter for me.
Josh, you know Ocarina.
Maybe it's different for me.
Yeah, you speedrun that game, so that's not.
You and I need to shut up and let Paul do his thing.
That game is like sleeping.
There's a different perspective.
Yeah, because you've played it so many times.
Hey, what am I thinking?
Majora's
Mask is probably the hardest Zelda game. What am I even saying? And Twilight Princess is harder.
Zelda's or Majora's.
I actually thought comparatively to those games, this game was pretty easy, especially when you go back. I did the trials for the shield.
Super easy.
And like the bosses that I had struggled with before, I went back and did those, and I breezed through that.
Yeah.
But that's not a knockout on it. It's just because I learned how to fight those bosses. Exactly. And I think that's one thing this game does really well is it does have difficult fights, but once you learn how to fight them, they're very fair and they're very doable.
Well, every boss requires very specific action.
Yeah.
It's not like just like cut it in this way. It's like, how do I beat it again? Like, no, it's like you have to do this very specific motion.
Right.
And it's all motion based. It's always using the Zelda theory of the new item as well. So I love that. This is like formula wise, hit every note for a Zelda game. And so each boss is very easy to memorize, which is awesome.
But it lets a Mega Man player like myself or Paul be a Mega Man player. Like we know how to memorize bosses. That's what we're used to. Yeah. So that sort of patterns, boss rush is just we know how to.
I will say a majority of these bosses are like you don't lose a heart. Like a lot of them are super easy. Like even Colossus and like a few others.
Especially when I went back and did the boss rush. Like I went back and did the boss rush and I barely lost a heart during that.
Is Ocarina of Time really the hardest Zelda game? That's crazy.
Dude, Ocarina of Time is not an easy Zelda game. It's pretty fucking hard.
The water temple makes people cry. That's true.
Yeah. Though I will say, going back and playing that as an adult, not as difficult as I remember.
It's a 1 for me difficulty. No part is hard, except sometimes Shadow Link.
Oh, it's a pretty fucking hard game, man. You just speedrun that game though. So
all right.
Anyway, overall rating and impression. We're gonna do like an on 3. Everyone's got this written down.
Let me see what mine is again.
We'll do it, and then I'm gonna explain why mine is that, and then we'll go into our next segment, which is you guys can explain your scores for this game, and then we'll talk about just different, perspectives and things that we like. But we're gonna kind of do a deep dive on this game after this. But we'll all show our scores. I'll do my explanation.
Mine's
and we'll break into that.
Worth noting, we're gonna do the same thing for Mega Man X next week.
Oh yeah, true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, mine's on my phone. You can barely see it. So here, can you see it?
9.6.
Damn.
7.6. That is brutal, Zach. I honestly expected it to be.
I told you weren't gonna like it.
I expected Josh's to be lower. I
can't.
And okay, so let me give my explanation of why.
Too much positive.
Sure.
You go first.
And then we'll pull off
the review screen. Again, Paul? You said 9.8.
9.7.
9.7. Oh, you even beat me.
And here's the thing. I think this game would be a 10 if it wasn't for the controls. This is, I think, the best 3D Zelda game that I've played.
Damn. Balls on
I know that's
man.
very controversial.
The balls on this
but like
Josh.
I think as far as like I said before, I think the story, I think the design, I think the mechanics, the boss design, the level design, like I think all of this is damn near flawless. And even though some of the motion controls can be annoying, that's mostly in the context of combat. Everywhere else they do it, it's great. Like the flight stuff is awesome. The skydiving, awesome. The controlling your little bug guy, awesome. That stuff's all done really well. And not that I don't think that part of it necessarily adds to or contributes to why I think this is the best 3D Zelda game. I think that because mostly the story, right? The story above all, I think is far and beyond better than
just bow down. This story made me cry the first time I beat it.
It's incredible.
Like, no joke.
It's absolutely
incredible.
Yeah.
If you pay attention, you get an insanely good, better than theater style, amazing lore filled story that like makes the entire series that much more rich because of its existence. It's nuts.
Let's cut the review here and move into our next phase. And
I want to know what Zach is thinking here.
Yeah, we're gonna hear what Zach's thinking right after this. Let me switch back to the thing here in 1 second.
Because I'm a jaded player.
Josh, I need to shut up for 1 second. There we go. That way we can have a clean cut when I edit it. All right, perfect. All right, so the segment that we're going into now is talking specifically about, you know, I want to hear why you guys gave them the scores you did, and then we'll go back into more in-depth conversation about the game.
Slytherin. No.
So let's hear Zach. Yeah.
Okay. So don't get me wrong. I adored my playthrough of this game. I had so much fun. It was
and you
really,
played the
really
HD
fun. I did play the HD. That's the only version I played.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
Like the art was fantastic. The music is beautiful. The aesthetic, especially the way Link looks, was really like that's how I imagine Link.
That's Link.
Yeah,
that's Link.
Me too.
That's absolutely Link. And when he starts out not wearing his tunic, I'm like, oh, what's going on here? But as soon as he gets it and the way he gets it is perfect. It was absolutely brilliant. So there's a lot to like about this game. There really is. And a 7.6 does by no means put this into bad game category. It's still very good.
No, I agree with Zach completely. I completely agree with Zach. I think 7.6 is still a high score. Maybe not a high score for a Zelda game, but I think it's still a high score.
Right. Yes, we are. Now, my number one 3D Zelda is Majora. I love that game to absolute pieces. The color and the interactivity is beautiful. Shamali and I have talked a lot about how we did not like the flying segments. That's so absurd to me. But go on, let's hear it. Okay, now hold, Paul, because every single other Zelda game that I've ever played, when you are traveling between one location and another, there's still stuff to do. There's enemies that pop up. There's shrubs to bust. There is none of that.
Yes, there is.
I gotta give it to Zach on this. First of all, hold up. Not only is the flight mandatory, I'm not saying this is a massive strike because I also enjoy my time in the air, and I felt that as the game went on.
Let me ask you. Let me pause you real quick. Do you feel the same way about Wind Waker and the boat?
No,
because the boat's worse.
No, there's so many islands. There's a fucking island.
There's so many islands in the sky with the stuff that's flying.
There's not. Time out. There's actually, I admit to Zach, there is not as much collectible content on each island unless you are unlocking all the Hylian stones or the goddess stones.
Okay, so it's about you want it to be a collectathon.
Secondly, you have to traverse this length of sky every time. I admit that's
it takes like fucking 10 seconds to get from
me. Because if you get lost, which I did,
there's a map
constantly. It doesn't matter.
You can put markers on the map.
Right, and I didn't realize until halfway through the game because it never tells you.
That's not the game's fault, Zach. That's not the game's fault. The tools are there, and it does tell you.
I didn't even think to try.
I thought it makes you put a pin in the very beginning of the game.
It does. In the tutorial,
it doesn't show you that you can get closer and farther away from the map. So my pins were way the hell off. I actually
forgot that, and then I remembered it, and I was like, oh, and then it was like more active. Yeah.
By the time I realized that, I had already collected half the
schmeckles. I will say that the open world of the Skyloft nearby island area is more for collectors than it is for just casuals. If you're just casually playing through this game, you're probably like, why do I have to fly this every time? If you're just like truly interested in exploring every inch of this area, it's much more interesting because you eventually do get to see every piece of it because of all the goddess stones and everything. And I think that's a little more interesting because there is a lot of lore to be had out there.
Yeah.
Like especially in the Thunderhead, there's like so much cool shit in there.
Let me give you my.
I spent no time in the Thunderhead. I just didn't want to be there. I was like, this is really boring and stupid.
Bug Island.
I went to Bug Island and I did enjoy the Bug Island segment.
Okay, so here's my take on that. So number one, I did not, because I was streaming this, I didn't do a lot of the side content. Okay. So I wasn't burdened by a lot of that stuff because I was pretty much just going from point A to point B most of the time. Okay. I did do some of the side content, but not a lot. Also, like, there's very easy ways to navigate that and you can do that quickly. The reason that system exists is because of a limitation of the system at that time, which is the same reason why the boat shit exists in Wind Waker. Yep. You know, I find it, even if you look back to Ocarina of Time, like, you have to get around on Epona. It's the same fucking thing. Like,
just run backwards.
Okay, or do the stupid backflips.
You can sure do that. But I'll be honest with you, Paul.
The bomb jump,
moving on Epona makes me feel the same way.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like, this just feels like mandatory drudgery.
I get that, but it's just a strange criticism for a mechanic that's basically been in this game since.
There's always a way to get around the field.
Like, I think about my experience with, and this as admittedly apples to oranges a little bit.
Yeah.
My experience in Link's Awakening or Link to the Past is when I'm moving between places, I'm still combating small and kind of insignificant enemies, but it keeps me motivated. It keeps me engaged. Yeah. This is just like, I flap the wings. I dive a little bit. I go through the boom tube.
It's different in a top-down. A top-down has to have each square full of content.
Yeah,
exactly.
I totally agree.
Exactly.
I agree. It is like a thing you just have to do. If you're not into the motion controls, you're fucked. You just have to use them. And like, I get that. I see his perspective on it. I will say every Zelda game has always
I just think it's a bizarre criticism considering that all Zelda games do it, really.
Hold up. One thing they did not do in this game. Here's one thing they didn't do in this game is give you a warp mechanic. You cannot warp just in Skyloft. You cannot go wherever you are. Obviously, you can fall into any hole, and it's kind of like warping. You're in a hub world. That's cool. But you can play a song in any other game, you can warp. All of them, including Wind Waker, including Twilight Princess, including Ocarina Majora. You can get a warp. You always start slow, explore the world, then you get a fast-moving mechanic like Epona, like the fast-moving boat in the HD version, like being a wolf in Twilight Princess. There was no added mechanic in this. I would say that's part of like my point reduction on it too.
Time out. So get a better mode of in Ocarina of Time, you can warp literally to any location in the game.
Any temple you can warp to.
Any temple. Okay.
Any temple.
But
you can just jump in the fucking hole and warp to the temple that way.
But you have to get on your bird. You have to be in Skyloft, get on your bird.
It takes 10 seconds.
I get it.
10 seconds to you, Paul, doesn't. It's time is relative.
They could have made a harp song.
I just think that's such a strange complaint.
You could have played the harp.
But but you're trying to delegitimize it.
I'm not delegitimizing it. I just think for someone who's played every Zelda game or most Zelda games, it's just such a silly thing to complain about, especially when there's so many other tedious fucking things that Zelda games make you do. There's a ton of other tedious things.
It would have been cool to be able to upgrade your loft wing.
That would have been cool. Sure, yeah. That would have
helped. That would help significantly. The only upgrade you get for the loft wing is the spin attack. And you use it for what, twice? Maybe?
I mean, I use it to get around because it's faster. Maybe that's why
you
had such a problem.
But I was like, you don't get a warp to the Thunderhead. You don't get a warp to the temples directly. All I'm saying is like being in Skyloft and all of a sudden being like, shit, I got to go get that robot piece. It would be cool to be able to warp to the desert temple right there.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. A harp song is all it took.
I'll concede on that. To me, it doesn't seem like it's taking. It's not taking 3 points off the game.
No, it's not taking.
It's maybe taking. It's maybe taking 0.3 off the game.
It's taking like 0.2 for me.
Yeah.
I thought some of
this is a thing.
Just some of the side quests made no sense to me. I was like, why am I doing this?
Side quests are side quests. You can't criticize a game based on side quests.
It's still part of the game.
No.
I gotta argue against that. The side quests were about like the character building, and it was all about Link as a person. It was all about his friends and like.
I didn't care about idiot.
So here's my criticism to your criticism. Is this? A game, you can't criticize a game for its optional content. Like if it's optional, then
I don't know if I agree with that. That's like saying the best
Zelda
weapon
to
in the
me
game
is finishing the game, finishing everything.
That's like saying you can't judge the Bigoron sword. Like, it's awesome that that's in the game. It adds to me that experience. Like, the Bigoron sword makes the game better. Like,
Or
not having the Bigoron sword, I would have been like, this should have been a better sword. It would have made me sad.
The perfect mask at the end of Majora.
Yeah, the fierce deity. Are you fucking kidding me?
I have to get that first fierce deity mask. That's so cool.
Yeah, but okay. So here's my thing. Come with me on this. I think side content can add to a game, but it cannot detract from a game because you have the choice not to do it.
I know. They can be monotonous enough that it detracts, though. If you're like, oh, I don't even want to do it because they are boring and annoying, that's when it's like you don't even want to do the content. That's right. When it adds lore and fun items and shit, like Zelda usually does, that's awesome.
Usually does.
I love that when it adds points. But like to not even want to bother doing them because it's so mundane, that kind of does distract a little.
Or they're Mega Man level difficult, like the stupid roller coaster. I wouldn't have
found any of that shit without you guys. That's a huge drawback on Mega Man for me, honestly. Is that
let me. Well, we can talk about this more on your thing, but you have to consider we made you rush through that game in a week.
I know. If I played that naturally, it would have taken me 3 months to find all the secrets for sure.
Yeah. Which is what we all went through as kids, and we knew they existed because we had a manual, which you also didn't have. So.
But Blink makes the point. It is still part of the game. The creators put it in there for you to enjoy it. And if you can't fully enjoy it,
wasn't enjoying it.
But you could make that criticism about literally every single game that has side content at all. Like,
of course you can.
Like, that's like not liking the Witcher games for the side content because the side content.
But if we compare side quests in Majora's Mask to side quests in Skyward Sword, Majora's Mask gives you intense, hugely deep character building stories that are completely optional and like massive lore points like the Fierce Deities mask, other shit like that. It actually like almost doubles the amount of game you get because so much of the game is optional. So much.
And you want to do it. Like I found myself actively wanting
I will say and very little of this is lore
scrolling. Like
so again, this is to me an example of something that can add to a score of a game but can't take away from a score of the game.
I might agree now that we've fleshed it out, kind of, because like I'm not reducing its points because of it, but I'm not adding as much because it doesn't have as much depth. There is a lot of lore.
So like the Majora's example you just gave is an example of how it adds to a game. Yeah. If that stuff wasn't there, you wouldn't. I'd be sad. You wouldn't miss it necessarily. Like,
true.
So
it'd be hard to tell.
I suppose that's true.
I'm not sure though. Yeah, I guess.
I'm not budging from my score. My score is
I'm not asking you to. I'm not asking you to. I'm just poking holes.
You're trying to argue my score up, and it's not going to happen.
What else, Zach?
Other things like
all scores are final here. Let's just put that like
not when you're arguing with it.
We're never gonna. No, I'm gonna argue with whatever you say.
I know that. That's what we're doing. Like, and you'll notice that I'm still grinning from ear to ear.
Yeah.
Like we're chat and viewers, we're not fighting. We're goofing off. Like
we're fighting.
Legitimately, we're
Mom and Dad.
Not Josh. Don't be a dick.
Like we're recruiting new podcast hosts. I'm just kidding.
Great, my fun. No. Let's see. ADD brain is like kicking my ass right now.
Sorry, I definitely. I want to get to
my
but
line
just to like this goes for all reviews in general that we do. The number we give is final. Period. Yes, we're never going to change it. I'm not asking you to change it. I like to kind of pick apart people's
and that's what we need to do. Like if this is going to become a main topic, that's what we have to do.
Yeah,
I will say. There you go.
No, go ahead, Josh. Make your point.
I can quickly give mine here. So here's my thing is, and it kind of touches on Zach's, and kind of like, so this game was a perfect 10 to me when I first played this game. This was absolutely flawless in every way, and I accepted the motion controls fully. Now that this game has been brought back, the HD version, I give it a 9.6 because replayability is like absolutely something that is, I think, suffers up to 4 points. I think that I would agree that the side quests, now I am 100%ing this game again. Now I'm playing it very slowly, but the side quests aren't as loving. There is lore. There are like character building parts, but it's not something where I'm like, oh, here comes this crazy part, the graveyard part with Dampy or whatever, or like some awesome shit coming up. It's more like optional and it's cool. And I get to learn a little bit more about the world and characters, but it's not like something I truly look forward to in the side quests. And also I will say getting around, I do enjoy it. I actually like flying and all that, but it also does take time. I would like a fucking warp mechanic. I think that it should be a little easier to get around. Also, Colin made this point, and this is like a whole point by itself. So the rest is like 3. This is 1. You go back to the same temples 3 times. I don't mind the Silent Realm. I don't mind the temples.
I like the Silent Realm.
I honestly love all of it. Like, really, like when it comes down to it, like I don't dislike any of it. It's challenging, and sometimes you're like, oh, anxiety, but like it's all good, except the fact that you enter the same dungeon multiple times in the same area. And I would have loved a larger world.
Not really.
Well, and sometimes, I'm going to elaborate on that, Josh, just a little bit.
Or just the same area, and like it's just like the same 3 times each area.
It's the same 3 areas. Fine, great. Like that's we've had Zelda games like that before, but it's the like I'm going back, into this dungeon, and I only have to play like a tiny segment of it.
Yeah, you have to re-enter the very first dungeon. And I'm like, what the heck?
That part was weird. Yeah,
that's just like another
that
part
was
of it,
the only one of those that really bothered me was
flooding Farron Woods and collecting.
I liked that.
I really enjoyed that bit. I thought that was fun.
I just like that.
So the swimming thing bothered me at first, but once I got the hang of it, I liked it, and I thought it was a fun little mini game.
Fun little scavenger hunt. Yeah, I actually really wanted more of that.
I thought, I have seen this area 3 times, Ray. This is fun. That
didn't feel like the same area because I'm like way up in the air.
Now imagine you're playing this game for the 4th time and the 5th time.
Well, okay, so that's
another. Now, this is where my big point reduction is the replayability of the game. And I'm not saying these areas are, again, 10 out of 10 the very first time I played this game.
Yeah.
Now trying to become a future fan of it and maintain it in my love for Zelda catalog, it keeps getting lower the more I play it, based on just like the side content, extra content not holding up. They could have removed a lot and made this as long as Ocarina of Time, and it would still be a perfect 10 to me. The motion controls don't really detract because, again, you can't really blame the game because it was trying to do something different. I don't even think any of it is really reduced by motion controls for me, because
that was my biggest criticism of it.
I think it's something that's annoying, and it could be perfect, like if it was just regular. But like at the same time, it's also like, it's kind of fine. They try to do something different, and like I support it, and it's really not like painful, and it's kind of fun and awesome to like get that. Like when I was fighting Demise, that's awesome to like plunge your fucking.
There are some really super satisfying moments,
super cinematic moments.
Yeah, super fucking cool. Yeah. You're having a real sword fight with demons, like shit.
So the lack of replayability is my huge point of action here.
You're not going to want to replay it anytime soon.
I don't have any desire to replay this game.
Again, I kind of disagree with you guys, but I also didn't do all the side content.
This is my 4th playthrough over 10 years.
Sure. Okay. And that's fine. I'm ready to go in and play master mode with like the handheld controls, you know?
Yeah, I just couldn't.
But again, I didn't do all the stuff. But here's another thing. I really fucking enjoy flying around and discovering stuff in Skyloft and all that. Like that's one of the things I enjoyed the most. Like I love just going up as high as I can and skydiving, you know, like I think that's just a fun little mini game.
So once you suggested that to me, like you were like, oh, skydive. I'm like, oh, this is dope. Like just how high can I get? How far can I dive?
I will say there was a lot to do. If you admit like any of the side quests are fun, and you just want to have fun in the Zelda world, like there was a lot to do. There was a lot of side stuff, and every time you got a story beat and completed a part, there was that many more. You could go back to Skyloft and something would have progressed, and you could have done another like happiness crystal bullshit thing. And like you know, it's kind of it's weird that all the side quests are tied to one side quest. And that side quest does. Did you guys beat it, by the way?
Oh, the friend.
Do you want me to save it
star
for you
things?
Well, yeah. Do you know what you get?
No, I don't know. I haven't. I don't.
I will say. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I will say.
Isn't there like 80 of them you need to get?
It's like 80, a lot. Yeah, it's like 80.
But they're easy.
It's not 5 each time. I would expect this to be a lore point for what you get and like something massive, and instead it's just like cool. But it's weird that all the story parts are tied to it. I think instead of everything being an individual story, like you get the happiness crystals and then it goes back to him. It's not like fully tied to him, but like I don't know. Again, I like seeing the world progress, and I like as you beat the game, characters do different things and things happen, and that I do enjoy. And you see, like, I think it's got characters become strong and etc.
Dude, it literally has the best character development, I think. Particularly
for any side character in any Zelda game, it has absolutely the best.
Yeah, 5 made me cry. Even in the original when she was annoying.
Not Groose.
Oh,
Groose.
Good.
Groose starts out as Biff. you know,
Yeah.
like,
There's no
and
other
by
word
the
for it.
end, not only is he your friend and is he a hero, but like you could
Yeah.
not have
He
completed
was
that mission
great. I
without
The
forgot
him.
about
Grusinator was the
He's
coolest
pivotal.
thing I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
Land. Welcome to
Mhm.
Gooseland.
Yeah,
Okay, so you know
and
that he's
his relationship with Impa as well, I think is
awesome.
pretty unique and
Aw,
That
really
was
good.
so cool.
That was really
Um,
sweet. I think all the characters are so tender and sweet and real. And
They're
like Impa,
real.
the scene where you go through the crack to Zelda, that moment, like holy shit.
Yeah.
That
is
was
it.
the
She can't come back
first
with you.
tears for me right there.
Woo!
Like
That story is incredibly
the story
good.
is so
Wow.
good.
That's
And,
why this is
like
the best Zelda
story
game.
art and music. Story art
brings
and
it
music
way
Best
up.
3D
are
Zelda.
Story-
so
Yeah.
amazing. Like
If you are
absolutely
a
through the
Zelda
roof.
fan, this will touch you. If you're not a Zelda fan, it doesn't even make sense to play this game. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I
Right.
don't know why you would
Yeah.
play this game unless you just want to play a good game.
I
but
disagree with that.
I don't know. Playing it first.
No, not playing
Like,
it
if-
first.
Boy,
I'm
if
just
this was
saying
your
as
introduction to
a
Zelda,
That makes no
yeah,
sense.
I would never I wouldn't suggest
I would
any
never.
3D
Frustrating
Zelda game
because-
as an introduction to Zelda ever.
No, I know. I
would
know.
never do that
Link's
to someone.
Awakening is the introduction to Zelda.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
want Link's
Yeah,
Awakening.
yeah.
No,
I
you
agree
want
with
Link's
that,
Awakening.
actually.
you ask
Okay,
anyone on this podcast.
Actually, we talked about this before, and I think we all agree that Link's Awakening was the best.
Yep.
HD remake is the
Yes.
best.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
two people now. My student
Yeah.
and my niece both. I've been like, don't play Breath of the Wild. That
Please
game
don't.
sucks.
Please don't.
Doesn't suck.
Don't do it.
It's just a bad Zelda game.
You just won't know what Zelda is after that.
You
You'll be
won't know
so
what Zelda
jaded.
is after you play that
So
game.
jaded.
Play Link's
Yeah.
Awakening. That will tell you what a Zelda game
You want your
looks
kid
like
to be
and
a
feels like.
Skyrim fan, then make him play Breath first.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Right. But no, like this is allegedly canonically the first Zelda game.
Absolutely.
And the story wise, it makes sense. So I can see someone being like, I'm going to play the Zelda games in order.
Yeah.
And picking up Skyward Sword first and being like, what the hell is this?
There is so
I mean-
much in this game that you don't even see also, story beats.
Yeah.
You see the roots? You know the Groose thing? You know what he is?
Well, this is a theory, but yes.
This is not a theory. Nintendo planted this purposefully. The Gerudo dragonfly in the Lineru area. Groose has red hair. He's literally
He's the progenitor
he
of the
is
Gerudo.
the first Ganondorf, technically. And he then probably
And
banged
come
his
on,
daughter
that
or
was
something,
so
you know?
easy to call.
Come on. Okay, next thing. Okay, Zelda. Oh my god, I love this one. And this is in that video also, where who's the original hero? Who's the first hero of Legend? Who's the hero of Legend?
Well, it kind of says in the
Does it?
Hyrule Historium, but it doesn't.
It does, but it's not. That's kind of like a
Yeah.
saving grace.
Sure. Yeah.
Who's the
give it to us.
real?
Give it to
I
us.
think that it intends for you to be the actual hero of Legend.
Yeah.
I think the sackcloth the cloth she gives you, there is no original cloth. You
Right.
have the original cloth back in time when you beat Demise, and you are that hero. You create
Yeah.
your own legend. I think that
I agree
is
with that actually, because you do beat
amazing.
him back in time. Yeah,
you-
absolutely.
Literally,
Yeah.
you create. It is a Song of Storms
Yeah.
paradox where
Yeah.
no one started it. Literally, it's just a legend because you do it. It
Yeah.
creates
Right.
this time loop because you are destined to do it.
Absolutely.
And it sews this all up to the point where you're already a legend before you've even done it. That's fucking insane, bro.
It's so good.
That's so good. No way any of this was not planned. Nintendo is smarter than they think. I think they're leaving the timeline a little more open than they are leading on also, because they have a lot more plans with it, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and we know there's a lot of stuff like, if like speculation wise, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds with this, but like with the trailers for the new, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, there's a whole lot of parallels between this
pretty
game
excited.
and that next game.
I think
which is
giving
cool.
us Skyward Sword remake or HD is not a mistake right before Breath. I don't think that was an
100%. No, they
accident.
did that
I
on
think-
purpose for sure.
Yes. They want us to know the beginning. They want the fans and the new fans and everyone to be brought into the origin story and us to have a full understanding of the lore, because we're about to get hit with a fucking bomb and it's going to be a full circle here. I know it.
Dude, you know what I
Bring us-
even love? Like
It's gonna
another
be
thing that
crazy.
I loved that like really just made me as like a long time like Link's Awakening fan just like freaking
Poop.
like poop. I was
Windfish,
gonna say
baby.
something else, but yeah. The windfish. There's a fucking windfish.
There's a windfish.
He's not
That-
the windfish,
It's not the
but he's
windfish,
a
it's a windfish.
He's
windfish.
a windfish.
Like,
You know, like
Yeah,
I
he's
believe
definitely one of them.
I texted Josh. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is
So-
that the windfish?
Is that the win? So there's in Breath, apparently these fish are all long dead, and people have done like
We see the
research, and there's,
bones.
Like there's
Yeah.
bones of
Yeah.
this guy, of It's like the Windfish, and then a third one they think is either like Jabu or some.
Well,
random fish you
Koholint
haven't
Island
seen
is
yet.
also in Breath.
Yeah.
Oh wait, what?
You didn't know that?
Like how
That's
though?
Koholint. So it's spelled a little bit different, but it's actually physically there, and it's the island where you go to, and you like wake up and have nothing, and you have to. So it kind of like is like a mini game
That's a
of
shout out to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow, that's sexual.
Yeah.
But
No,
I mean,
that's awesome.
Like, so I mean,
Super cool.
really the only reason that my grade was so low is that it's
forgot
not
how awesome it was.
No. There's awesome bits. It's a great Zelda game. But it's not as good as Majora.
I agree.
Which is, I mean, that's I would agree. It's a perfect 10. It's
really
like
good.
it took me longer than I would have liked it to.
I think that's a big one for me too. I wish it was bit or
I wish there was more relevant stuff to do. I wish, like in Skyloft, even like I expected there to be some little tiny little guys to fight when it wasn't nighttime. You know, it was just like, whatever. What am I doing? I'm just running.
The
around.
night mechanic would have been better used with throughout the world. You can't even leave
throughout
Skyloft
all of
when
the
it's
worlds.
night.
Yes,
Yeah,
I would.
You can't even leave when it's
loved
night.
that. I would love to see that a little more perpetuated throughout the series.
I agree.
The flying just dragged on and on and on and on and
That's
on.
so weird to me.
And that's
Continue.
Paul. It's it's subjective, right? Like
Sure, yeah,
I
of
guess.
course.
like I said
Apparently
before,
it is.
time is relative, and Chamali and I were bothered by it.
Yeah.
And that's just the way we are. That's the way we're wired. Epona bothers me too, and the boat drives me crazy. That's why I've never finished
Not
Wind
the
Waker.
HD remake.
But
Dude, the boats.
God, I can't.
I've played
I
it. I've played the HD. I've never finished the HD remake, but the boat drove me insane.
What?
Yeah, it drives me
Yeah.
nuts.
It drives me
I
insane.
feel like
I
a
hate it.
badass on the ocean pirate motherfucker.
I
No.
fucking hate
I-
it.
What?
Ugh, no.
It seems like
No,
such a
no.
giant waste of time to me.
Right.
Like
and-
way more than the flying does.
Stop.
Way more.
There's more islands and more actual collectible content.
But it's all
in
further
your-
apart and harder to find.
Not if you have
Yeah.
the swift sail makes it like 10 seconds to get to the next
Okay.
island. Oh
Anyway.
my god.
When
So
when
it's
do you
just-
get
it was-
when do you
it
get
was
the swift
really-
sail? When do you
You
get the
get
swift
after the
sail?
second dungeon. That's not even long. You literally all you have to do is beat the first
isn't
two
that long.
dungeons.
I'm playing the
No,
front.
it's really
I
not that
haven't
long.
got that far. No, but like
Yeah.
it just
You're
like
"Oh, that's
the
not long."
compounding of a bunch of little things just couldn't make up for in my book just couldn't make up for the beautiful art, the tear jerking story, and the gorgeous music.
Gorgeous.
Like that's those
Yeah.
three things are what it had going for it, and like
The story
and,
is
and
impeccable.
the story
Impeccable
is
story.
so good. I mean,
This
literally
story
tear-jerking story
is better than
multiple
movies. You are all missing out, people that don't play video games.
Yeah.
This shit
yeah.
is real.
Why would they be watching this show if they don't play
I don't
video
know.
games?
Like literally, stories like this do not exist often. I will say, as much as I love Ocarina of Time, this story was more fleshed out and better written.
Yes.
Like I don't even know
By
how to
far.
say that without it hurt me a little to say that, but
In terms of clarity of a Zelda story being
Yeah.
told, this absolutely crushes it.
characters are so sure of themselves. No beat is messed up. No word is misspoken.
Right.
There's no loophole. It is perfect. It is
Zelda, not only does she play like a heroic character instead of a damsel in distress, but it gives context to every single incarnation of Zelda going forward.
good. And
Yes.
Ganon. And Link.
And Link, yeah, and Ganon,
Everybody
yeah.
is there.
But to me, the Zelda part was the most important, right?
I think
because
huge.
of who she is.
She's
you know.
a goddess before she was even a human.
Mhm.
Yeah, she is the goddess incarnate, but like is a human. Like
Yeah.
it's so
And her
huge.
human
super.
relationship with Link is like more
much.
real than
I'm getting
any other
chills.
Zelda
Like,
game too.
You,
Getting
you
chills.
feel
So.
their connection.
Their connection
Yeah.
is some real good. Their connection is what sells the story completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
100%.
and I'm not talking like love or anything, but it's like this like trust and
it's-
bond
it's
that these two people
yeah.
share, and it means a lot to the story, and like it matters to Link. He's the hero because of her. you
Like,
know?
let's be honest, they're in love. But like
They
you
are
don't-
the only
that's
ones,
not what it's
only
about.
Zelda and Link that are ever in love, though, which I appreciate.
I
Right.
don't
There's
necessarily
no-
agree with that.
Well, Bruce
That are
has
for
a thing
sure.
for her,
That
but
are
it's
for
like
sure in
whatever.
love.
Yeah. It's like
Ocarina
it
of Time,
doesn't
like,
matter
who knows?
because it's also it's about their human bond, not
Yes.
their affective bond.
Yes.
Yeah.
It just tells such a good story. I don't
Yeah,
see it enough
absolutely.
in movies. Every word is so genuinely written. It's like so
Yes.
fucking good, dripping
Yeah.
with lore.
And the
also,
fact
like,
that-
it
I mean,
speeds the series.
Like that's translated from Japanese, right? So like
Japanese is even more awesome.
Dude,
I'm sure it is.
Dude, if you want to get real deep into it, there's a video.
Yes. Not only is there the goddess tribe, the tribe of the gods, and there is an entire world of gods, but there's an entire world of demons too. Like literally the Master Sword, the Demon Sword, everything has a
Seven
parallel.
Deadly Sins much.
Yeah. Everything has a parallel in Zelda. It's just crazy. We only see like a tip of the iceberg on the demon side.
Yeah.
I would love to see like, I guess Link to the Past. You see the entire Dark World.
Yeah.
Which is, that's like his wish.
Yeah, you see that in Link Between Worlds too, which is a
yes.
I would love to see that. Aside from adult
Link Between Worlds is so good.
Adult timeline, Ocarina of Time is really the only time we see Ganon's power like having won at a certain point, but I would love to see it now. Like,
dude,
Ganon has completely taken over.
I've been saying we need a Ravio spin-off.
I want a Ganondorf game.
Oh, sure. Or like I want like I want like literally like a low rule, like
that'd be sweet.
You play as the hero of low rule rather than high rule, right? Like so, like Ravio is the low rule version of Link.
I would like
in
that.
Link Between Worlds. I think that'd just be a really sick spin-off
Helga,
game.
or whatever her name is like accidentally evil though. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that.
But I think that'd be rad, right? Like it'd be not as a mainline Zelda game, but as a spin-off.
Like
you know,
my favorite spin-off idea would be the 7 years Link is frozen in time in Ocarina of Time. You play as Zelda becoming Sheik. I would love that.
Oh yeah, that'd be good
too. The finale is like Link becoming unfrozen, and you just like end the game there.
Oh, one other like kind of like the cherry on the cake for me with this game, which is again why I like really when it boils down to it, the reason I think this is definitively the best 3D Zelda game is because of the story. I do love the dungeons. I love the gameplay. Everything else, like I think is masterfully done. I don't really agree with the going back to the same 3 places over and over again is a bad thing. I think they do it really well.
The dungeons are great, but the areas, I'm like,
enough
of the areas. The dungeons are sexual.
That didn't bother me because you spend such little time in those, and then you just go to the dungeons. Like,
you think you spent such little time in it, so you played it 5 times in a row? No.
Sure. Anyway, let's not get into that. My point I'm trying to make is this: is the cherry on the cake for me is the ending. After during the credits when you get to see what Zelda's doing the entire time during her adventure with Impa. That's so cool.
Like you also see Groose fly off into Lanayru area. Like there's so many reasons he's the guy, you know. Anyway, but you see Zelda like be like on her quest. Damn.
It's so good. Yeah.
So there's a lot to love about Skyward Sword.
Oh yeah.
I mean, really, like I said, I don't know that I'll ever play it again, but I'm so happy I did.
Did you know when you first meet Impa, you can look through the crack in the door and you can see Zelda's frozen in time from when she froze herself
in the Jurassic Park Ember.
Right in the beginning of the game. You can see her fucking frozen in like the Jurassic Park Ember.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what you're looking at. That's so dope.
That's
like
so
shit, she's just there. Impa's just like, you're not ready, bitch. Like, we're getting there. Dude, it's seamless. It's a seamless story. The story is the reason to play this game. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, everything else is great.
It's definitely a Zelda game for Zelda fans. Like, I still think it's a great game, independent of being a Zelda fan. But and you know, I think you guys' criticisms are valid, though I don't necessarily agree with them. You know, there's definitely certain things about it that detract from it in certain ways, but when it boils down to it, if you're a Zelda fan, like this is the game that you need to play. Yeah, like I wouldn't say you need to play any other game as a Zelda fan. You absolutely need to play this one.
You really do have to run through this once.
At least once.
The first time I beat this game, I was like, this is the game. It was perfect in every way. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's too good to be true. I cried.
No, but like, dude, I cried twice. I'll be honest. When
I did not.
The end, I was like,
when you put feet down,
I'm compromised. Like
too much to handle.
Yeah, that conversation with Fi when she's going back into the sword and
that one and the Zelda when she goes into the amber. That's that scene is so good.
Yeah,
beautifully done.
Super good.
Okay, we are literally talking about this game for like an hour now.
Yeah, it's time to wrap it up.
But I mean, that was planned.
So this was the topic. Yeah, the topic was.
Yes, it was.
We're gonna do something similar with Mega Man X next week, Probably not as in depth. So we might want to have a backup.
I don't have as much to say.
Well, dude, we have a lot. Well, Josh, you're doing the review.
You think we're gonna go this deep into the story and stuff with Mega Man X?
Look who you're asking.
Okay.
Josh is gonna have so many really. It's not gonna be as much of a deep dive. It's answering Josh's questions.
Hey, a dog.
Yeah,
I have a lot, but I also don't want to know
Josh
too
gonna
much
have a lot of questions.
The series is before me, though. I need to, I don't know how much I need to know yet, but there's a lot.
So a lot of the games, Josh, don't answer those questions.
It's wild.
That's
to me,
why
I felt like when I beat the game, not spoiling anything, I felt like there was was I supposed to know this information before? And then I was like, no, this is like the ending. Oh, okay. And I'm like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah.
So it took a sec. It was kind of like Katana Zero when I beat it, where I was like, huh? Oh, okay. Now I kind of get what I just put together. Took me
next time on This Is Difficult podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'm excited.
Zelda's our shit, though. We can't shut up about it. Literally, Skyward Sword.
Wait till you see.
Well, we're gonna shelf Zelda for the next couple weeks at the very least.
Yep. I would be surprised if we talk about Zelda almost at all next time.
Yeah, we're gonna do 2 Mega Man episodes in a row. Anyway, let's wrap it up, boys and girls.
Yes, wrap it and tap it.
Let's see. How do I do this? Boom. All right. So if you are, did I do this right? No, I didn't. How do I do this? I'm stupid. There you go. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Anyhow, if you're watching this live, sorry, my brain's dead right now. You're watching it on my Twitch channel, and I do video games on Tuesdays and Wednesdays is when I play whatever game that I'm doing as a series. So we just wrapped up Skyward Sword. I actually don't know what I'm going to play next, so I'm going to try and figure that out over the next couple days. Yeah, if anyone's got suggestions, send them my way. Really appreciate
Yoshi's
it.
Crafted World with your wife.
Definitely. Dude, so yes, that is something that I really do want to do.
I have not seen the co-op.
It's good. It's competent. It's fun. Getting her to agree to that is going to be a struggle, but I think she's more open to it than I had initially perceived. So it's we might get there anyway. But I don't think even if that does happen, it ain't starting this week. So might as well try and get another game on deck.
Can't think of anything.
Yeah, but then on Saturdays I do exclusively Samurai games because it's Samurai Saturday, and so we'll be doing that right now. I just started the expansion for Ghost of Tsushima, which is very cool. And then again, here we are on Sunday nights with the podcast. And then if you want to yell at me on Twitter, you can hit me at Ryugami-sama. If you're watching this on YouTube, please just like, comment, subscribe, the typical stuff. But what really helps us is if you share it. So get the word out. Josh,
share the word.
Where can we find you?
Lord Yeshua. That's me. On Lord Yeshua TTV and all my bullshit elsewhere. But Lord Yeshua on Twitch. Let's see. What am I going to play? Crafted World coming up. Why not? This game has a lot of content. I don't know how long it would be to 100% this game or if I'm going to be dedicated enough to stream it consistently, but we'll find out what it looks like to stream this game. Play a bit. See what happens. Worst case, 100% it off stream. And here I am. Bye.
Do a little of it so that we have footage for the review.
Yeah, some footage. Definitely. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this game. It's definitely a sleeper. Definitely check it out. At least there's a free demo. The first level is even pretty fun. You really kind of have to be a Yoshi / Mario fan.
Yeah.
Yoshi maybe specifically. I don't know. Those games are a little different, but anyway, see that. Zach, what's he got?
I'm on Twitch at Another Letdown. I'm live Thursday night for Batman Arkham Knight this week. I will be, and I'll actually get to that in a second. And Saturday for miniatures painting with Paul's brother Adam and our friend Mike. And all this month, I am raising money for Embrace Kids Foundation. There's a link to donate in the chat, and we'll put it in the show description as well. And if you donate during my show, during the Batman show this week, I have this awesome autographed Harley Quinn action figure.
I can't believe you're parting with that. What the fuck?
So okay, so the story, Josh, is
he's got two.
No, I don't. Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor gave me this and said, we would like you to give this away on in some capacity as a charity event. and I've been sitting on it for probably 3 or 4 years because I haven't done a good one that I felt good about it. But since I'm playing the Batman Arkham games, I was like, this is the time. So whoever donates, people who donate increments of $5 will be entered into a prize drawing for this action figure.
Sweet.
That actually does have a lot of sentimental meaning to me.
Also, it's worth $1 jillion.
Not really, but
No, it's not. Oh.
No, it's just an action figure signed by an illustrator. But
Sounds
like
so cool.
Absolutely,
cool.
like Jimmy and Amanda are great friends, and they're wonderful people. So I'm excited to give that away to a deserving fan, and to raise money for an awesome cause. So we're already up to $290 raised over the course of the last week. So I'm pretty excited, pretty happy with that. And then so that's all my streams this month. Will have awesome donation giveaway things to do, and it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, like it.
Nice.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for coming again one more time. Had a lot of fun tonight. My brain's not working, so someone else can cover. We'll talk to you guys later. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We did it.